So have you had a chance to go outside and play at all during the gorgeous weather?
Well, today, no.
Not today. No, it was raining, but I
Although,
saw those fish.
but I was in the rain today. That's a lie. I was in the rain. I was outside for 2 hours while we were training dogs this morning in the
Ah,
rain.
cool.
Yeah. And I don't
Fun,
like
fun.
wearing a raincoat because that rain that rain gear, when I put the hood up, it jostles in my ears and I hate that. I can't. So I just put a hat on and get wet. Whatever.
Well, there you go. There you go. So, welcome everybody to Let's Talk About Debt. And we are going to, if you could just pop in the chat where you are from today as people are logging in and joining us, that would be great. And I am going to go ahead and share my screen while we are getting ready, and we are going to start right on time so people can get on with their evening after that. So Jeanette is one of my guests tonight, and Stacey is actually going to be joining us as well as we talk about debt and just share a little bit, maybe do some I guess financial literacy education. We'll go ahead and call it that tonight. So Jeanette, I'm going to have you go ahead and silence yourself and mute yourself for right now, and I will bring you back into the conversation in a little while. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So thanks for taking the time, and good chatting with you before, and we'll see you again in a little bit. So my name is Kim Rayner, and I am the founder of All About Spirit Life Coaching. I am a certified Law of Attraction life coach. I'm also a certified money coach. I am a stage 3C ovarian cancer survivor, which is what actually led me to become a certified life and money coach. I am a retired corporate executive. I spent, I don't know, many, many years in the hospitality industry, and I worked for financial institution in their high wealth area. I am a serial entrepreneur, and I am the third generation entrepreneur. And I'm also a real estate investor, and have been investing in real estate for more than 43 years. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about all of that stuff and what really qualifies me to be able to talk about debt and about to help educate people on what debt is and how it impacts our lives. So I'm going to start talking a little bit about the goals that we want to accomplish in life, the things that we would like to have happen in life. Maybe we want to take a super cool trip someplace. Maybe we want to own a fancy car. I know my dream car was a Mustang, and I got to own one of those at one point. Maybe it's to buy a second home, or it's to go back to college, or to pay for your college, or to pay for your grandkids' college or your children's college, right? Maybe it's to take a special vacation with someone. Maybe it is to get married, or, maybe it's to buy a really, really nice home. And, the thing about our goals, the stuff that we want to accomplish in life, our goals put us in debt. And there is nothing fundamentally wrong with being in debt. It's how we go in debt, and that's the picture we paint in our heads, but in reality that's not the way life unfolds for most of us. This is what really happens. A lot of times we go to college and we set up for what I like to think of as the 45-year plan, where I go to college, I get my degree, and I step out into the world and I decide what I'm going to do for the next 45 years in my life. So we go to college, and that coming out of the gates puts us in a position where we have a significant amount of debt. It's not horrible. We have some discretionary income. We have our student loans, but it is not horrible at that point in our life. We're not making as much as we owe, but it's not horrible. Then most of the time we get married, and that kind of levels the playing field for us in the very beginning, right? We've doubled our income. right? Our partners and our income doubles it. So now our income and our expenses may be just about equal. And that gives us a lot more discretionary income. It gives us a lot of extra cash at the end of the month. And then, maybe we decide that we're going to have children. And we know that raising kids, having children is a really expensive proposition. It costs $1 million today to raise a child from birth through college. That's a lot of money. So here again, the playing field is still pretty even. Our debt to income is pretty even. But then we decide that we need to have a place to live, and that bumps our debt ratio through the roof. We end up in this place where we have a significant amount of debt. The squiggly lines here, that's the principal. The red solid is what we're going to pay in interest. So we have a huge debt to income ratio at this point. And we need to have a car to be able to get us to work, and most of the time we're borrowing money to purchase that car, and that puts us at the top. So then what happens from that point going forward is the vacation, the second home, the cool golf trip, right? All of those things, they become fantasies for us. We never get to realize those dreams. And it's because they get replaced by just the cost of living, our what it costs us to just be able to survive on a month to month basis. We don't ever get to tap in to those super fun things that we want to do. And here comes the financial literacy part. This happens because we end up budgeting for the price tag of the things that we buy instead of what it really costs us to purchase these things. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. We live in a debt fueled economy. We know that. This is not a surprise to anybody. Now, these are financial statistics that come out every 5 years. So they'll be coming out again next year, I guess, or at the end of this year, that information will be coming out. But average credit card debt, right? 16,400. Average mortgage. This is old information, right? $180,000. We know it is much higher than that today. Average student loans, 51,000. Average car loan, 31,000. We live in a debt-fueled economy. Most of us aren't paying cash for this stuff when we buy it. Now, I'm going to share some examples with you, and I just want to say your personal experience might be different. The details might be different from the example that I'm going to lay out, but I can promise you, if we're talking about credit card debt, student loan debt, car loan debt, mortgage debt, the principle is absolutely the same. So keep that in mind. The example that I'm going to use is going to be a 30-year mortgage on a $200,000 home at 4.5% interest. Now, these are nice, easy numbers to work with, right? It gives you about a $12,000 a year payment that you're going to be making. So the numbers are easy to work with and remember. As I walk through the process, I want you to remember $200,000, 4.5% interest, and 30 years. Those are the things I want. So first year, you make all of your payments on time. You're never late. No financial crunch, no penalties, no late fees. At the end of that first year, you will have paid just over $12,000. 8,900 of that will have been paid to interest. 3,200 of that will have actually been paid toward your principal. Now, that is not 4.5%. That is not 4.5%. That is 73% interest. So let's fast forward to the second year, right? Doesn't look much better. The second year, again, you're paying just over $12,000 on your home. 8,700 of that is going to go to interest. 3,400 of that is going to go to principal. That is not 4.5%. That is actually closer to 72%. Now, your financial institution did not lie to you about this information. They did not. They did not give you misinformation. In fact, you signed a document called the Truth in Lending document when you went through your mortgage closing. And in that document, it literally says how much this is going to cost you in interest. So the problem is, it's not that they didn't tell us about it. The problem is that most of us don't understand what we're reading. So let's fast forward to 20 years. Now we have paid 20 years in. We're about 2/3 of the way through the payment. We have paid $243,000 on our $200,000 home. Now, I don't have a problem. It costs money to borrow money. I am good with that. I don't have a problem with that. Here's the kicker. you still owe at the end of those 20 years $97,000, almost half of what you originally borrowed. And by the time you're done with this, you will have paid $365,000 for your $200,000 home. Now, that is not 4.5% interest. That is actually 82% interest. You will have paid $165,000 in interest. The average household spends about 34.5 cents for every dollar that they earn to pay down interest on their debt. That is a third of your money that goes to pay down debt. Now, most people could be living the life that they really want to be living. They could be living their dreams if they understood the consequences of debt. And again, I don't have a problem with borrowing money. What I have a problem with is the way that we educate ourselves and how we pay that money back. So just stop and think for a second. What would your life look like if you could stop overpaying interest on your debt? How would your life be different? Could you take the cool vacation? Could you take time off? Could you quit your job that you hate going to, but you feel like you're trapped in because it's golden handcuffs to go do something else? So the reason that most people don't make it to their financial goals, they don't ever hit that place of financial freedom, is because we would rather clean the bathroom than take a look at the truth of where we are in our finances. It's so easy to avoid looking at things that are uncomfortable. But when it comes to making financial decisions, I can promise you, ignoring the facts is not the best possible plan. You are much better off getting educated and taking different action. So I'm just going to ask you for a second, how badly do you want to get out of debt? And you can put this information in the chat on a scale of 1 to 5. Looking out, I absolutely want to be debt free. I don't want to have any more debt. Or do you hang out in the camp on a 5 that says, no, I like financial stress. It gives me and my partner something to talk about. We get to do conflict resolution on that, right? Who needs extra money anyways? So where do you hang out in that camp? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you see the problem with debt the way that it's laid out? So, what are your options if you're looking at getting out of debt? You could pay the minimum balance. You could refinance or do a debt consolidation. And before you do that, I'm going to absolutely beg you to talk to the person who invited you tonight or reach out and talk to me about what happens when you do a refinance or a debt consolidation. You could do biweekly payments to your mortgage, but what I can tell you is a lot of times banks or financial institutions will not apply any of that payment until you have a full payment. So you send them their money, they keep it in a little bucket for you until you have a full payment, and then they apply it. So you're just sending them money and allowing them to use it to use it while you're not. So that doesn't really help anybody either. You could go get another job. You could go make a side hustle. You could send extra money to principal. Again, that may or may not be helpful. Some contracts will allow you to do that. Some contracts won't. You could do what's called the debt snowball. I know Dave Ramsey talks a lot about debt snowball, debt avalanche, right? Where you pay down your smallest bill, you pay that one off first, and then once that bill is paid, then you take all of that money and throw it at your next smallest bill, and you do that until all your debts are paid. You could do a debt avalanche where you pay the highest percent of interest rate first, and then you pay that down, and once that bill is paid off, then you throw that money at the next highest interest rate until those are all paid off. The problem with these kind of strategies or these kind of options, and they're not bad, it's absolutely better than doing nothing, but the problem is you are absolutely guessing doing. And I can tell you, it is not too late, no matter where you are in the process. And I'm actually going to have a guest come on in a little while, and she's going to tell you about her experience. It's not too late to take a new course. It's not too late to try and do things differently. So, what I'm talking about tonight is the only financial GPS that's on the market today. This is a tool that not only looks at where you've come, which is what most debt elimination tools do. They look at, what have you done in the past? But this tool says, where are you going? Where do you want to be? What's it going to look like in the next 3 months? So this is the only tool that allows you to look forward. Now, a lot of times people say, okay, so this might be a really great kept secret. I want to know more about it. Well, the tool that I'm talking about has actually been written up in Ernst and Young and Entrepreneur of the Year, and those two magazines are institutions that pay attention to what's up and coming. They pay attention to what's trending in the industry. So when Microsoft was hanging out in Bill Gates's garage, when Apple was just a good idea, when eBay was somebody's thought, when Starbucks was, gosh, I wonder if I could open a coffee shop, right? All of these entities were written up in Ernst and Young and Entrepreneur of the Year. We were written up in Ernst and Young and Entrepreneur of the Year as a financial force to be reckoned with. So if you are in the real estate industry, you probably recognize Home Business, Mortgage Planner, Success, True Wealth, Broker Banker. These are all trade rags that people in the real estate industry use and use often. They talk about what's coming up and trending. We've been written up in these trade rags as well. So about this time, people are saying, okay, so what exactly is it that you're talking about? And I'm going to back my way into that explanation. The tool is called Debt Shredder. It is not about not refinancing. It's not about doing a mortgage modification. It's not about doing a debt roll down or increasing your monthly payment. It's not about making a lender change. It's not about asking you to change your personal lifestyle. It really is a tool that says, this is where we are today and where are we going from here. Debt Shredder literally has the answer. It is the smartest way that I'm aware of to save money, to reduce your debt, to build your cash reserves, and to start accumulating wealth. And why I'm so passionate about this, I lost my home in 2007 when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Well, it was in 2007. It was the unwinding of my life after that. If I'd have had access to this tool at that time, I probably would have been able to save my financial life and had a really different experience after that. So I'm really passionate about sharing this information with people and helping people find ways to reduce their debt and really to start building and accumulating their own wealth. So what does Debt Shredder actually do? It literally takes the power of the bank and it puts it into the power of the individual. It uses something called algorithms. And algorithms are literally decision-making processes that prioritize what you want to happen next based on the data that's put into the equation. And in this case, the data that gets put into the equation is your dreams. It is what you would like to have happen. It is your plans for the future. So that's the data. And it uses something that's called factorial combinations of math to find out what's the best possible way to apply my payments. And it's literally the payments that you're already making. You don't have to go on a financial diet. It literally is saying, how are you paying your bills right now? And what happens if we reallocate them based on what you would like to accomplish using these factorial math combinations? So do you remember when I talked about the debt snowball and the debt avalanche? If you have a mortgage and your mortgage is 4.5%, and you have a credit card that you're paying on and the credit card is 29%, there's a part of your brain that says, I got to get the 29% paid off. But you might be paying a boatload more money on your mortgage because it's such a large amount of money that you borrowed. Well, Debt Shredder will literally figure out where's the best way for me to apply my payments. So it does it real time. It does it on the fly right here, right now. Now I have a friend who used Debt Shredder. They were looking at buying a house. They went in, it was a multifamily, it was a duplex, and it was an investment property for them. They looked at the house and thought, oh, this is a nice little place. I wonder what it'll do. It's $120,000. So it was a couple of years ago. It's $120,000. And it's like, what will this do to our debt portfolio? And they went out to their car, literally plugged the numbers into Debt Shredder, and Debt Shredder came back and said, you could buy this house and it's going to knock 2.5 months off your debt, the time that you're going to be out of debt, because not only did it consider the $120,000, but it also considered the income that was going to be generated by the rental income and how that money could be used to pay down other debt. So literally it takes a look at where you are now, where you were, and forecasts out into the future where you want to go. That's what makes this a game changer. It is the fastest path to zero that's available today. So what exactly is it? Well, it's an online web-based money management and debt elimination tool. It takes the tools that the banks use and have been using for years, right? The algorithms, the factorial math, and it puts it into the hands of the average person. It is the only interactive system that's on the market today. And it has the ability, like I said, to adjust to real-time situations. I know somebody else who was looking at buying a new car and thought it'd be nice to have heated and air conditioned seats. Wonder if I should do that. They plug the information in. How much extra will it cost? What's it going to do to our debt? They literally were going to add like 3.5 months to their debt load. And it's like, yeah, I want the cool car with the heated and cool air conditioned seats. It gives you the information in a super organized and easy way. The format is very, very user friendly. So Debt Shredder is a software program, and this is literally what the dashboard looks like. It tells you how much time is it going to take you to pay off your debt. It will tell you how much interest are you projected in saving. It tells you how much interest do you have remaining to pay, and it tells you exactly what you need to do on a weekly basis. It's about moving your money between accounts. It tells you how much to move, what day to move it, and what to do with it when you move it. So I'm actually going to walk you through an analysis that I did for some clients of mine. I did it in September of last year. This is John and Deb, and they are a pretty typical family in America, right? They have a mortgage, they have a car loan, they have student loans, and they have a couple of credit cards. So 5 debts in total, 258,000 and some change in debt. This is literally what their analysis looks like. Now, the information in red on here is the balance that is scheduled to be paid off by the bank. So the bank says by 2049, they will make their last payment for their 30-year mortgage on their house, right? The information in blue here says, Debt Shredder, this is when we say you are going to be in debt. And when we hit this green part, Debt Shredder says, this is when you're going to be out of debt and you're going to start accumulating your wealth in this place, right? So the bank says it's going to take you 30 years. I say with Debt Shredder, it's going to take you 8 years and some change, and you will be out of debt. That is making the same payments that you're making today. It was a game changer for John and Deb, young families starting out, right? This is the same information. Some people like lists, some people like graphs. The information in red is what the bank says that you are going to be paying off your debt. The information in blue is what Debt Shredder says. This is how long you're going to be in debt with me. And the green says, this is what we're going to be doing with accumulating your wealth. So this is all information that can be collected on your personal analysis. So Debt Shredder says, John and Deb, you are going to be out of debt in 8.8 years if you follow this system. We are going to save you 20.3 years off your mortgage. So imagine if you are a real estate agent, right? You help your family buy their home. What would it if you could offer them a tool to pay it off faster? Do you think that you would be their favorite real estate agent? Do you think that that would give you a cutting edge above other real estate agents? What about if you're a financial advisor and you are trying to help your customers have more discretionary income? What kind of tool would this be for your clients to say, here, let me help you get some more discretionary income. Let me help you build your wealth portfolio. So how does Debt Shredder do it? What do you need to do to play with Debt Shredder? Literally, we are not going to ask you to change your current living situation. You don't have to go on a financial diet or anything like that. I'm not going to ask you to refinance or to change your existing mortgage. In fact, I'm going to ask you not to do any of that, because the more opportunities that Debt Shredder has, the more different equations, the more factors there are in that factorial math equation, and the better Debt Shredder works. Not going to ask you to do a debt consolidation. We literally want to ask you to let the Debt Shredder get you to zero debt in the shortest and fastest way possible using your current situation. Now, there's a couple of requirements to use Debt Shredder. One, you have to have a checking and a savings account, and you have to make at least $1 more than the minimum required payments on all of your debts in a month. That is the requirement. If you are, upside down in your debt, Debt Shredder is not going to be able to help you get out of that. But if you are able to currently pay the minimum payments on your bills, Debt Shredder can help you get paid off faster. So it uses four different strategies. The first one is interest cancellation. It allows you to pay back a fraction of the interest that's normally owed. It uses something called strategic payoff, which is what I was talking about. Do I throw extra at my mortgage or do I throw extra at my credit card? It analyzes what's the best situation for you. It looks at the time value of money and says, okay, my money is worth more today than it is ever going to be in the future. So what's the best thing for me to do with my money today? And then, because this is such a powerful tool, you get coaching, you get software, and you get access to the complete education system. So, what does the software tell you as you walk through the process? Well, it literally will tell you how much money should I move? And I mean, like the exact dollar amount. I had somebody reach out and say, hey, my debt shredder said I should move 14 cents from my checking account to my savings account. Is that for real? And it's like, well, if it's going to save you $113,000 in interest, absolutely move the 14 cents, right? I'm not going to question that. It tells you when to move it, literally the exact date that you're supposed to be moving it. It tells you what account to move it from and what account to move it to while it adjusts to your real life situations. And I know Jeanette is one of my guests, and she's going to talk a little bit about that and how she was able to use Debt Shredder to strategize with some things that came up for her. It literally will tell you what is the fastest mathematical way to get me to zero debt. Now, you can also program it to say, Aunt Betty lent me a bunch of money and I have a moral obligation to pay Aunt Betty back first, no matter what Debt Shredder says. Can I adjust it and make that my number one priority? Absolutely, because all of the data, all of the information you're putting in is what's important to you. What are your goals? What are your hopes and dreams? So this is the analysis that I showed you. This is another part of that analysis. It doesn't just help you get out of debt. It will also show you what does it look like as I'm walking through the process. It shows you what does it cost to borrow money. Now, this is John and Deb's analysis, right? They stood to save $121,346 in interest. Every month that they waited to buy Debt Shredder, it cost them $1,145 extra every month that they waited. So getting an analysis doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's a game changer. There would be no reason to not take a look at it. It helps you demonstrate the earning potential of the money that you have. So in John and Deb's case, if they took the money that they were using to pay down their bills and they put it into an interest-bearing account that was earning 1% interest, by the time they reach the point that the bank said that they would be debt-free, they will have amassed $811,956 in accumulated wealth. Now that's in a bank account at 1% interest. If you're only getting 1% interest, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. I have a financial advisor, actually a couple of them, that could do much better than that. But that's the power of this tool. And it does it on the fly. It adjusts to whatever it is that's going on in your life. And the free analysis, it explains all of this and it explains so much more. So I'm actually going to invite Stacey to come on screen and to share a little bit. Stacey is a Debt Shredder owner. She's also a financial analyst. So she's actually in the financial industry. She's a mom to two cats and a turtle. And she's an avid music lover. And she has had 25 years, a 25-year career in the service industry. And she's also a business owner and an entrepreneur. So Stacey, can you give us a little bit of information about what Debt Shredder has done for you?
Sure, absolutely. I was just kind of laughing because I came popped on a little bit late because I was getting my hair done, and the best thing about that shredder is I can program that in. And then when I was doing my initial analysis and getting everything set up, I'm like, oh, I've got to include my hair. Like, how many times have in the past I have needed to get my hair done and I just couldn't afford it. And so what's been nice is I have it programmed into my debt shredder that 2 times a quarter I get my hair done. I have that total dollar amount. Now I can go in and check off that I got my hair done once this quarter already. And it looks fantastic. But that's kind of that's really the best thing that I've loved. I have a great amount of debt, but I use it more as a budget tool too. So I know exactly where I'm spending my money. I know how I'm not supposed to be spending my money. I know if I have enough money to spend. And putting everything in there has just been a real eye-opening experience about how much money I was spending that I shouldn't have been spending, that I could have been applying towards debt. And just having some place to tell me when I need to pay it. I don't have to pay it at the last dollar amount or the very last minute. I can pay it. Sorry. I can pay it exactly when I need to be paying it. I just got my hair done, so he loves the smell of my hair. And it's just been great. I just absolutely love it. I purchased it a couple years ago and never started using it until a couple months ago. And I've already saved myself a tremendous amount of interest just in the couple months, just a couple, both my cats are going crazy right now. In the couple months that I've been using it. So I just absolutely love it. If, my worst case scenario is I'm able to use it as a budget and keep myself in check.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Stacey. And I love your cat. That's so funny. That is so funny. Thanks for sharing your story with us. Next, I am actually going to introduce Jeanette Barwell. Now, Jeanette is 55 years young, and she actually has been a friend of mine for a very, very long time. She's a wife and a mom of 2 grown kids. She's got an amazing golden retriever who is actually an award-winning golden retriever. She's an outdoor girl. She is a serial entrepreneur. She's owned a retail business. She owns rental properties. She's involved in a health and wellness industry, and she's a great friend of mine. So I'm just going to introduce you to Jeanette. And Jeanette, why don't you share a little bit about what Debt Shredder has done for you in this season in yours and Chad's life?
Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much, Kim, for having me. And Stacey, great share. Totally can relate, except for the cat thing. I don't have cats, but and I didn't just get my hair done, but it looks great. Well, I bought Debt Shredder about about 9 months ago or so, and I had my analysis done, and it actually showed that in the season of my life at 55, we were unfortunately, we had regrouped and we had accumulated an extra loan, which put us at about 17 years away from being debt-free or payment-free. And through a series of events, one of them being an inheritance, but right prior to that was us purchasing the Debt Shredder, and it allowed me to it allowed us to actually allocate those funds and in the right way, not the way we had planned. And it reduced even at the late, we were on the back side of a lot of our mortgages, a lot of our lending, a lot of our debt. And so the majority of the interest was already, gone. But even so, we actually ended up saving, we will have saved at the end of this $34,150.93 in interest, and we will be debt free in 2.0 years as opposed to 17 years. So that was shaved almost 15 years off of our debt. And I can say that just I think it was 6 days ago, we paid off my husband's truck 3.5 years, 3 years early. And that was the greatest feeling. So I can't stress enough that if you are in doubt as to whether or not this can work, oh my gosh, you got to give it a try. Take a look at it. Talk to the person who invited you here and get your free analysis done at the very least, so you can see if it's something that fits your bill, because it's an amazing. That's a play on words, right? Fits your bill. Well, anyway, thanks for having me. And yeah, it's an awesome and a beautiful experience, and powerful, just powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeanette, for sharing. I appreciate you popping on tonight. And congratulations on being debt-free at age 57.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's a big deal. So what are the next steps? What do you do going forward from here? What I would invite you to do is to talk to the person who invited you here today. Reach out to them and have a conversation with them. Ask them to run a free analysis for you so you can see how Debt Shredder can help you, and to see how it can help someone in your family. Eliminating debt is really just the beginning of what we do with Shop Financial. It really is about changing And it's about changing how you do things. And I can promise you that your financial situation is only going to change if you choose to change it. Otherwise, if you always do what you always did, it is all, you will always get what you have always got. So I want to thank you for being here with us tonight. And I'm going to invite you to have a really great night. Reach out again to the person who invited you and ask for your free analysis. Thanks for being here.